So obviously the big news that was revealed yesterday was the play calling duties. How did that come about, and what was that process like?
That came about in the job hiring process. When Brent called me down and said he wanted me to come down here and coordinate the offense, he felt like he had some guys that were capable of doing it, and he wanted me to groom them and bring them along. And I've been in that room since, I can't remember my exact hire date, January or February. But there's no doubt that, Matthew's been doing the best job. And it was going to be something that we were going to lean that way and turn him over to. And he accelerated his growth when I first met him. It was just a matter of time of when we were going to do it. And we really felt like the bye week might have been the best time to do it.
And what stood out to you about Matt and his background?
Very, very knowledgeable. Father was a football guy. Obviously, you see his background. He's been in a lot of responsibility roles, but he's been at a lower level, which was one of the reasons why I came in here. And just wanted those guys to get used to doing certain things at a Power 4, Power 5 level, and making sure that they have all the things they need for Coach B and for the offense to be successful.
So what does this change for your role besides the specific calling of plays during games?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. The way we do things is kind of collaborative anyway. We really know what play is going to be called. They've been practiced. We really don't go off script very much. We're kind of off the Bill Walsh tree where we, script a certain amount. I won't say the exact number, but a certain amount of plays for the first half. We will change that up in the second half. But really, we kind of know what's going to be called. You just may not know the order in which it's going to be called, which is the duty of the play caller.
Well, what did you make of those two throws that Noah launched on 3rd and 11 on that one drive?
You guys, those were. I don't like to compare people, but it reminded me of Doug Flutie making plays. And the one throw, the one deep ball throw across the middle was amazing. But the one where the deep ball throw across the middle, when you see that free guy jumping over our tailback and is about to hit his throwing his lead knee, and he sits in there and makes that throw. There's so many guys that would have backed off of that, not used their legs, came out of it, maybe make that ball flutter a little bit and give the DB a chance. He never hesitated for the team to put his knee out there and zip that thing in there. That was a big, big time throw, NFL. And then coming off the scramble, releasing to the right, getting extremely close to the line of scrimmage, yet knowing exactly where he's at to find KB in the back of the end zone with about, here goes the math part, about 1.5 yards to spare. I mean, that's big-time football. Those big-time throws. I think the other head coach said something about Noah and his play, but it was really exciting to see him perform like that.
A couple questions here. Before that drive, I believe it was the drive before where Noah threw the pick to T-Mac in the corner of the end zone. What does it say about him to just forget about that and move on and have that successful drive at that?
Coach B was talking all week about how we have to, clear things. And if you lose 2 yards on first down, all it means is it's 2nd and 12. It doesn't mean you're going to lose the game. Or somebody scores 7 points against our defense, all it means is 7 points. It doesn't mean you're going to lose the game. It means the other team got 7 points. Line up and play again. For him to have the know-all, and the ability to clear that, because that interception, at that moment, it was big. But because he was able to clear it, he made 2 bigger plays down the stretch that helped us win that game, and that's what we need him doing.
And then secondly, the running game seemed like a huge emphasis in that football game to kind of relieve pressure off of Noah. How much of the game plan was that, and how well do you think you guys executed that?
Well, I just think, again, we had 2 weeks to prepare. So when you have twice as much time to do the same thing over and then over again, there needs to be a difference. There needs to be an emphasis, more detail, more concentration, more perfection. We need to be more consistently good and not occasionally right. And I think the young men did a great job preparing for those 2 weeks, preparing for that game.
Jason?
So it appears that you guys have found your offensive line. How important is that just for the whole operation and being able to, it looks like at least for the first time all season, you'll start the same offensive line in consecutive games?
You know, I think we've got four. I think we've got four. We've got a little rotation going at one spot. But we're getting closer. And I think that was, I think that was the big difference in the beginning of the year, is that we have, if you look at the rotation, the offensive line, we have had different characters out there based off of who's healthy, who's hurt, who's not hurt. And you're only going to solidify your offense or your defense when you solidify your offense or your defensive line.
What do you make of T-Mac's numbers as the games have gone down? 'Cause it seems like first half always strong, and then his numbers kind of drop off. What do you make of that?
I don't really have a make on it. Maybe it's people saying, hey, he's just like everybody else. He puts his pants on one leg at a time like everybody else, and he's just treat him normal. And then they get in the game, they go, oh my God, he's not normal. And then they come out and they make adjustments, and we're going to make adjustments as well. But maybe it's that, but I really don't have an answer for you. It's, to me, it's something that's just a happening. You got to see more numbers before you can predict exactly what's going on.
What do you think the key was for Kean Burnett's breakout performance against Utah?
I think he was healthy. I really do. I mean, we're all KB fans, and he's an exceptional athlete. There's no doubt that he's a very, very talented receiver. What we want him to do is be a very, very talented blocker. I talked to him about Brandon Manimaleunu, who was here the last time I was here, and Brandon had unbelievable hands, and all he wanted to do was split out wide and catch the ball like a wide receiver. I said, Brandon, you can do that, and then you're going to go to the NFL and get cut, or we can teach you how to block, and you may be up there forever. You can check the record. I think he was up there 10 or 11 years. He might have caught, I don't even know what he caught, like 20 balls. But every one of those years, he was making $1 million plus, blocking. So the long game, the long haul, the power of 7, making sure your money doubles. We teach those tight ends how to block. And KB's coming along. But when he gets that down, he'll be the complete guy, and he'll be special because his receiving skills are really good.
Texas Tech has a running back that basically carries 20, 30 times a game, which is not common anymore in college football. Is there advantages to that, or do you prefer the rotation and spreading it out?
First of all, this is the first time I've ever got a question, not the first time, a long time since I've got a question on a defensive question about the other team's running back, but I know where you're going with it, so I'll go ahead and go there with you. I'm a little old school. Like I said, when Trung was here, I want to give Trung the ball every single time unless the ball's inside the five-yard line when we're going to give the ball to Kevin Efon. And Trung used to be so mad that he'd run the ball all the way down to the 5 and we'd take him out. I'm like, Trung, we're not going to let you take that shot. You're not 210, 215, 200. You're not going to take that shot. So we'll give you the ball, and if you don't want Kevin Efon to get the ball in the 5, then don't let him catch you, which he started doing, and run it all the way in. I prefer to have a guy that can go 20 or 30 carries, but you have to be a special guy to take that pounding on your body and be able to come back every week. That's the thing. Yeah, we'll give it to you 30 times if we're going to give it to you 12 times during the year like that. If we're going to give it to you 30 times and you have to sit out 2 weeks because of the pounding that we gave you for 20 times, that doesn't work for us. So if you have somebody body-wise that can take the pounding, yes, I'm all for that. We're more in a situation now where we're going to split our reps to keep our guys healthy so we can keep everybody with us throughout the season.
Last question to Justin. What stands out to you when you look at Texas Tech's defense?
They're tenacious. Their defensive coordinator has been around a long time. I'm going to mess up his schools, but he's been around an extreme. He used to be the head coach at Fresno State. I want to say he was the defense coordinator at Texas A&M. I'm getting this halfway right. Tim, I always say his last name wrong. That's why I don't want to say it. Get him fired up. But, an Okie guy, even guy, he's got a lot of football in him, and he's really, really good, really, really aggressive. So those guys are athletic from the state of Texas. They move around. I know they've given up some points, but that doesn't matter because, who would have thought that we'd have been able to do what we did last week, in Utah. But when the kids are locked in and when they're focused and when they're motivated, it's amazing the things that you can accomplish when no one decides or no one cares who gets the credit. Oh, I always try to tell the men about, egos. Everybody has an ego. I've got one. You got one. I know my wife's got one. Everybody's got an ego. But for the team to do the things that they need to do, we need to drop the E so we can all GO. And we can all head in the exact same direction. And I really believe that's what this team wants to do, and we're all for it. Coach B's done a fantastic job. I love the heck out of that young man. You guys got a good one. I can remember, I want to say this because I know I'm coming to the end of the deal, but Utah is a very, very, very difficult opponent. And to get a win up there is really a big deal. And I've been around a long time, and you guys, great game. And I'm like, sitting around, that's really not a big deal. That win up there, based off of how many times they've lost with that head football coach that's been there 31 years, 20 years as a head coach, 11 years as an assistant, that is a solid program. That is a big-time win. And now we've just got to see where we're going to go from it. Are we going to just be a flash in the pan, or are we going to really turn this into something big? And everybody's working hard to see if we can do that, not only for the players and Coach B, but also for the community in this university.
All right, that's our time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Josh Baker, today. Mike, give me a thumbs up when you're good. All right. Questions for the student athletes? Go ahead, Justin.
For both Josh and Jonah, what do you think you guys showed in that game against Utah?
I think we showed some resilience in drives where we might not have come away with the result we wanted to. We just kept chugging, kept going, tried to keep executing best as we could to get the points that we were after.
Piggyback of what Josh said, prior to that week, we were kind of emphasizing, physicality, because, this defense is really physical up front. And, obviously they've stopped, runs in the past for like less than 90 yards. And then we were emphasizing on that, just physicality and just go in there and just play our ball.
And how cool was it to see Deuce get out there and have a good game?
Man, I'm happy for him, prior to the game, I can tell he was locked in, I just told him before the game, don't, just like what I told Rhino, don't make this moment too big. I mean, I seen in his face, he was so confident going into that game. And then as the game went on, it was like, easy for him.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the bye week, how important was that for the cohesion and communication on the offensive line, not only to get healthy, but kind of be as a unit and have that extra week after having guys miss out the first couple weeks of the season?
It's big. It's always big to have a little bit of extra time because, as we know, time is our enemy in college football. Each week a new opponent. So having that extra week right there, it really helped us in terms of just navigating the communication that would need to take place against that opponent. Yeah.
Ryan? Tyler, how does it feel to know that you have coaches that turn to you for a 56-yard kick when the safe play is to punt or even just to go for it in that situation?
It's a bunch of fun. Just having, like you said, having coaches that trust you, that's a special thing. And also having teammates that trust you, like, I have their back and they've got my back. So like going out there, obviously not the result we wanted, but definitely like it's freeing. You're able to go out and operate knowing like, hey, I spent all this time with these guys working and perfecting my craft, and just seeing that pay off in the trust and relationships with coaches and players, it's a fun thing.
Tyler, there was a time, I believe, when you were kind of the shorter distance guy and Lucas was the longer distance guy, but now, you're kicking 50-plus yarders with regularity. What have you done to improve your range?
I think I've always had the range, but the biggest thing is Lucas was fantastic at transferring his weight through the ball. Like, he's a phenomenal ball striker. And so just being around him and seeing how he did that was big. and another thing was just the weight room and, you know, our field workouts, like all the sprinting and the running and all that stuff, like just developing like a golfer, your club head speed, same thing, like you want to develop leg speed. And so just being as efficient as possible with my form while stacking that leg speed in there has been kind of the difference for me.
Brian?
For the offensive lineman, did you notice any difference in how the plays were called or the plays that you guys did with someone different making that call?
No, sir. We don't really pay attention to who's calling the plays. We get a play and we execute it to the best of our ability.
So it just felt like it was seamless then?
No.
It was just like Baker said, you know, that's not in our control. Whoever calls the plays,
Yeah.
our job is to go out there and execute 100%.
Justin?
You guys feel like maybe the loss against Kansas State maybe took some pressure off you guys, and maybe the game against Utah you were a little bit more loose?
For sure, you know, we kind of had that chip on our shoulder. After that loss, you know, we were heading into a bye week. You know, we kind of carried that into a bye week, and it kind of fueled that up, us up. And then leading to a game week, you know, we were ready to go. We were ready to prepare for Utah.
One for the offensive lineman and then one for Tyler. What was the process like for Rhino to improve his game? I think he gave up 5 pressures against Kansas State and then none against Utah, and was going up against, you know, one of the best defensive ends in the conference.
Just keeping to what Coach always tell him every day in practice, and obviously like getting healthy and everything, and just taking to heart all the little things and the little details that really do make a difference, and they do make a difference in letting up something and not letting up something. It does make a difference, in which he's done a really good job of recently.
What do you think?
You know, all that happens in practice. You know, after that game, we kind of watched the film. You know, I took Rhino after practices and then try to fix on some things that he needed to worked on, and then he agreed with it, and then from there on, he kind of improved on his techniques.
And then for Tyler, Lucas was here a bunch during training camp. I don't know if he's still around, but what were some of the things that you guys talked about or worked on together?
He was just sharing a lot with me, like what he's learned in the league from guys. Because there's a lot of ins and outs of the games. It's kind of like I always compare kicking to golf. Like sometimes you look at like a PGA caddy and their knowledge of courses and their knowledge of, hey, this is the shot you play, this is this club you use. And so he was just kind of talking with me about how that works in different stadiums, talking to me about, hey, when you're going out pregame, this is how I would go out and pick spots, because this is how I know my ball plays. One of the things you learn, and I've really learned over this past year, is kicking is not about being a perfect kicker, but it's about being a great adjuster. Because you could go out pregame and how you're hitting, like you just kind of have to accept, hey, today I have a little bit more of a draw on my ball maybe. And so he was talking to me about the mental game of like, you know, you may be hitting in the net feeling like, oh, the draw's not there, but if that's how you were hitting pregame, you just got to trust it. And so picking different target lines to play that type of ball, stuff like that, just the expertise and ins and outs of the games. That's what we were talking about a lot.
Do you play golf?
I do. I'm not good. I'm like,
I've heard those, man. I've heard those.
I'm not good. No, Cash is good. Cash Peterman, great golfer. Awesome guy to be around. He's a fun time. I don't golf. I wish I could. So, yeah.
Brian? A couple things, Tyler. First, how confident or far back are you confident from, do you think, for taking a kick in a game?
I always tell Coach, I'm like, Coach, if you put me at 65, the ball will go. Like, it'll get there for sure. Yeah, I'd say 65 is like.
And if you had, like, do you think you have the ability to convince Coach Brennan and others to give you that shot, or are you just going to go with what they say?
I'm going to go with what they say. I think we kind of mess around a little bit in practice with that, and I think we're there. I think, they joke around with me like, hey, we get to 50, we can kick a field goal, which is like, that's a fun thing to have a conversation about and joke about. But I think if we ever got in a situation like, you want to go kick this? Be like, heck yeah, let's do it.
And then the Kansas State game, you were out there as the punter. Do you prefer the kicking side to the punting side, or?
talk a lot about on the team, just embracing your role. And if they ask me to punt, I'm going to go punt. If they ask me to kick, I'm going to go kick. Both are just super fun. Like, being a specialist is awesome because you get to spend thousands of hours doing one thing and building on that one thing. And then when it's time to go perform, it's a blast.
Question for the offensive lineman. What have you seen out of Texas Tech on film?
Good team. They're well coached. They got long lever dudes up front, and it's going to be a good game. It's going to be an exciting game.
A lot of movements, a lot of stems. So we're gonna go into this game expecting some movements up front. Not just one formation. They run a lot of multiple defenses, so we gotta stay ready.
Last question, Michael.
For the linemen, and I got one for Tyler too. What can those experiences going to Kansas State and Utah, two of the toughest places to play in the Big 12, do for the team, do you think?
It puts a chip on our shoulder and kind of reignites a flame on our butts, for example, and gets us going and gets us really refocused on what the mission is and how we attack every single day and every single practice.
And football, is a game of adversity. So when that happens, we got to overcome it as a team. And then we always got to have a chip on the shoulder, like Baker said. And then we always have that 1-0 mentality. After this game is 0-0. We playing another team, got to flush what happened in the past, and we're always moving on.
And for Tyler, I think you're one of two full-time kickers who's got 100% touchback rate still. Do you think that's something that's sustainable for the whole season, or there maybe be a time where there's wind or weather or not as much elevation? Or...
Yeah. I mean, yeah, my body will hold up to it, like hitting the touchbacks. Obviously, we can't, the weather's one of the only things you can't control. So if we get into a game and it's just a monsoon straight in the face, we're gonna we have plans for that to adjust and play that well. But yeah, I mean, my body will hold up to it. 100% touchback is kind of something that's fun and I want to try and get, but whatever they ask me to do, we'll do. So.
All right, that's our time. Thanks.
Hey,
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you guys.